we're gonna start chatting.
Tell me, I've got 9 minutes of stuff I've got to edit.
You've got to listen to it all. We might have spoken to you.
There's some good stuff in there, I think.
Nah, I'm not doing it.
Thank you for tea.
I've been being recorded.
Yeah. Maybe.
Against my will.
I'm going to cut it all out for you, Alison. Don't you worry. Thank you for my coffee or my Nespresso.
Is it nice?
Yeah, it's great.
Love it. Thanks. Bye. I love you. Oh.
So mean.
Got what you deserved.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
agreed.
I got nervous itchy ears.
You made a scene, didn't you?
Is this the greatest power in the universe?
Welcome to Nerds Chatting, movie, TV, comic chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everybody to the NerdSchatting podcast. My name is Nate, and with me tonight are my two best friends in the world who I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm so happy to be in a room with, Ben and JB. How are you doing, chaps?
I just had to swallow my coffee.
Just choke on the love.
We're going to James first.
I would have seen my surroundings and I would have gone to me first because you were taking a big slurp of very hot Nespresso coffee. No pun. No. Advert thing. This is slick. This is normal.
Yep.
This is great.
Yes. So yeah, if you are a first time listener, welcome. We are the Nerds Chatting. We chat about all things nerdy, movies and TV shows and comic books and games and sometimes other things. Anything you can slap nerd on top of, we talk about it. Today we're going to be talking about some recent Marvel properties, so yes. Black Widow and Loki. We might slip in a little nerd scene.
Oh.
That felt uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it felt.
It will.
Quite provocative.
Yes,
yeah.
It's a little bit of nerdcy in the middle, but for not first-time listeners, welcome back, everybody. It's been a while since we've been recording.
May, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the final Invincible TV show episode?
Possibly.
I think it was.
Yes.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah.
A lot of education, shall we say.
There was a WandaVision. There was a Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There was Rick and Morty season 5. There was a couple of trailers. We're not going to talk about any of that
None
stuff.
of it.
No,
and I don't know what you mentioned when you said the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. The Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier. Yes,
that's it. Thank you. I know what that is now. Thank you. Yeah.
Pigeon in the Womble.
Wow.
So, I haven't actually let you respond to how you are. How are you both?
Literally done it again.
Comedy timing.
I'm great, Nathan. How are you?
Nathan. You're coming from Skirnthorpe. I can't do it, yeah. Where are you from? How are you?
I'm perfectly fine. I'm very happy.
And you're from Exeter.
I think we're all a little bit excited because this is true, listeners, that the three of us are in the same room, huddled around a table with teas and waters and electrical equipment, and this feels right. It feels comfortable.
It does.
And
It
I'm
feels
happy.
good. Yeah.
I'm not going to cry. I might cry.
I'm not going to cry.
Okay.
I'm not going to cry.
If Ben doesn't cry, that means
No one's going to cry. Ben is the crier of the
he's
group.
a crier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets
I'm not
real
gonna cry.
proper emotional.
He does.
I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
Okay, breathe in.
Where's that Wi-Fi?
Do you know what?
packet?
I actually have had a conversation with your wife about that.
What? That I'm a crier?
Yeah. She absolutely loves it about you. She adores it about you. Do you know that?
Oh, well, you know.
It's got to be something, I guess.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's probably the only thing. Yeah.
I'm not sure how that came up in conversation, but I definitely have had that conversation.
Wow. Why are you talking to my wife behind my back, man? Don't talk to my wife.
I'm always talking to your wife. There's not a moment of the day when I'm not in constant communication with her.
Yeah.
Oh, this got funny and awkward.
Well, that's because she's
Swiftly moving on.
Shall we talk about Black Widow?
Oh, look at you just jumping in.
Yeah, I'm just jumping in.
Okay, let's talk about Black Widow. Yes.
Or as it should have been called, White Widow.
Yes.
Because she has a white outfit all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Even in the posters.
Yes, that is correct.
Nah,
What do you think? Tell me.
Honestly,
Just general. Let's just kick it out there first, and then we can dip in.
it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah, it's a shame because I was really looking forward to this movie. I'm a strong fan of this character.
Yes.
I think this character can do a lot. I think in previous movies, this character has really, shown what you can do with a character like this.
Yep.
Really, really well, and it was fine.
It was fine, wasn't it? Like, So a couple of things here. Trailer made it look awesome.
Did absolutely, yeah.
Liked all that. However, is it the fact that this was like coming out at the end of a pandemic, possibly going to a cinema, that made things really exciting?
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff.
It's like 3 years too late, and
Yes.
I mean that like in terms of the plot and content as well. It just felt.
It should have come out it should have either come out in between Infinity War and Endgame, or straight after Civil War, like the period in which it was set in the movie. Spoilers. We're going to spoil this film. all the way, right?
Total
Complete spoilers all the way.
Did you like it?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. I think Scarlett Johansson is infinitely watchable in anything that she's in.
Agreed. I also think Florence Pugh
Yes.
was better than her in this.
I don't know about better. I thought she was very good, and I think that she will pick up the mantle of the Black Widow and take that on. What's she called? Yelena
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
I think that'll be great. And her being her, in air quotes, sister is, that just works very well. I think if you didn't have Florence Pugh and you didn't have Scarlett Johansson in it, I don't think it would be as watchable as it was.
Agreed.
I think the opening where it's set back in the
90s.
Is it? I was going to say the 80s.
No,
So
it's the
90s.
90s, yeah,
good.
yeah.
So 90s in Middle America, and they're undercover Russian secret agents trying to do a mission. Ohio.
Nice.
I thought that was a really solid opener, and I
Oh,
like
I
the
liked
fact
it.
that he
Good,
was
good
a
action scene. Yeah.
super soldier, and you get that when he flips the car, and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think after that, I don't ever really think it betters that. If I'm honest,
Agreed, and I think in the last third it properly drops off. When they're suddenly in a helicarrier type thing, and then there's the pheromones thing, and then there's I can't remember what they're called. What's the Black Widows, the
Red Room.
The Red Room, when it's all that, and then it's like world ending, and it just jumps the shark for me a little bit. It just is a bit like, oh.
I've heard people say, well, this is Black Widow's Winter Soldier type film in relation to like Captain America, his sequel, The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Was like this really deep thinking 70s like espionage thriller, and I thought, well, this isn't on par with that.
No.
And anyone who says it is, I think, saw a different film.
There's like one scene where they try and do a Winter Soldier sort of sleight of hand. Sorry. So in Winter Soldier, it's like who is the villain, right?
Yep.
And you kind of kept on your toes quite a lot. And even with Bucky, to some degree, it's will he turn, will he not, will he become a good guy? In this one, there's the one bit where they sort of do flashback to an hour earlier, where they do swap the faces.
Yeah.
And I was like,
well, that was clever. I like that bit. But
I didn't know it happened.
I didn't know
liked
it happened either, but I still just, when it happened, I was like, okay.
I guess the reveal of who Taskmaster was a mile away. When they said, so when they cut to the scene where Black Widow's, this is the red in her ledger, isn't it? Basically,
Yeah.
when they cut to the scene where Black Widow's got to get rid of this guy to then become a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, then be taken under the wing of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, okay. And then you find out that he didn't die, but his daughter did in this explosion. It's like, well, that's who Taskmaster is then, right?
Yeah, because
It couldn't
Black
be
Widow
anyone
doesn't
else.
kill a little
Well,
girl, does she?
No.
I didn't know if it was going to be Milena. I
Yelena.
wondered...
Yelena?
Yelena? Milena?
Yes.
Oh, hang on, the mum?
The mum.
Oh, yeah, I did think it was going to be the mum from the trailers. I always thought it was going to be
And maybe
Rachel
that's
Weisz.
what influenced me. I was like, oh, okay. And then when they went to the house and with all the pigs, that was a little bit too random for me. Like, I could see
But
the
that
mind
was-
control and things like that, and pigs. Well,
That was given
nah.
exposition about how, through her science, they are controlling the widows and controlling Taskmaster, and they can't do anything about it.
No, I know.
So I get that, and I thought that was interesting, but it was wrapped around an awful lot of
Guff.
stuff that I didn't think was amazing.
I
Again, though, I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate it either. I don't know why I have this suspension of disbelief problem with this. Like, it should be fine. This is a universe which I fully accept has wizards and gods and men who are super soldiers and men who can make Iron Man suits and fire lasers out of their hands. Like, all of that, I totally accept and say, yeah, it's really cool. This guy can make an iron. I can't, for some reason, I'm not okay with all the mind control technology and all the damage that would have been inflicted on them in the action scenes. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of watch it and she falls off a thing at one point, and I'm like, I'm out of the movie right now. I'm totally out of the movie.
There was the fight scene between Florence Pugh and Scarlett Johansson when they bump into each other in Budapest. Budapest? That was funny.
Yeah.
That was funny.
The amount of times that they threw each other over their shoulder into something hard.
Yeah.
Like, they both have fractured skulls. It felt like it was trying to emulate a fight scene from a Bourne film, but then it was like, okay, but we're in the Marvel universe, so we've got to marvel it up a little bit, and it's got to hurt more.
Well, it's more than that. I'd say that the Winter Soldier scene where Bucky and Cap fight in a enclosed space is meant to be mimicking a Bourne film, but in that situation, they're both enhanced men.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas this is two women. So two women. That sounds stupid. Two normal women.
It's human. It's
Humans.
just. They're not
enhanced, not super soldiers.
Exactly. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Yeah,
just
yeah,
lights.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so it's like it's double layered, not working for me.
Yeah, I think so. I think Ben's hit the nail on the head when they're fighting in the house, and then all of a sudden they've got this injury. But whilst Black Widow has kind of retired to wherever it was, and then Taskmaster comes after her, blows her out of the car, and the car's over the bridge, and all that sort of stuff. You're like, that's going to hurt. I mean, no matter how well you train, is her bones made of something else, and it's just not so believable. She can fight really well, she can handle herself, but if she gets hit by a car, the character gets hit. It's not like Cap. It's not like Iron Man in his suit or anything else like that. It's just all a bit sort of like, is that really humanly possible?
No,
unless you are souped up.
And that's I think perhaps the problem is the charm of this character is a normal human in a world of gods and robot creating men and super soldiers, and she's great because you get to see her hold her own in this situation. But now it's suddenly that she's looks like she's empowered but not.
Well, it also links back to the Autonomous Soldier.
Yeah.
So when the new Captain America comes out, and he hasn't got any of the super soldier serum in him, has he? To start with, he's just a normal human being.
Yeah, in the first one.
So in the...
What are we
sorry, I'm talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show.
Okay, so...
Is that right?
Yeah, the Winter Soldier has got... He has got some...
He's got the same thing in him that the Red Guardian has.
But then I thought he injects himself again.
No, you're thinking of...
Am I?
What are we talking about? What's going on here?
So in the Falcon
And the Winter
Soldier,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, we're talking about new Cap.
New Captain America.
New
Captain
John
America.
Walker.
John Walker. Yeah,
John Walker.
he injects himself, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not enhanced before, is
No,
he?
no, he's
so
not, no.
thank you.
Right,
I'm
sorry,
so sorry for... Just to say that whether we've had months off, I still don't know my shit very
Brilliant.
well.
Great.
I
But
got
John
me
Walker
there.
isn't enhanced.
No, he's not.
And
Not to
then
start with.
Not to start with. And then he then sees the serum and he's like, oh, what would you do, mate? Will I do this? And then he gets the serum and then he is enhanced. It turns him bad, but whatever. But I think that's the comparison I'm trying to make, is that the Black Widow is... Nails can handle herself, but going up against someone like Captain America, equivalent, or someone who is enhanced, ain't gonna happen.
No.
And her body can't rebound like a serum-induced athlete.
But you also, if you put Red Guardian in this, who is great, David Harbour is probably the best thing about this movie in terms of the comedy elements. Like, he's really fun.
Yeah.
If you put him in there, being able to do all this enhanced stuff that we talked about, but then also show a normal human taking the same punishment that he is, it sort of undermines him, but also takes you out of her and her scenes and her moments.
Yeah.
It really was just... It was a cartoon, wasn't it? It was a cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good way.
she's a superhero.
Yeah.
So they got to throw everything at her. She's the lead in this film. They're going to throw everything at her, and she's just going to deal with it and move on.
100% agree. They have got to throw everything at her. What would make her film more interesting is if she dealt with it without those seemingly superpowered reactions.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about her, is that she thinks outside of those things, and she's got the gadgets and she's got the moves. Not that she can fall off a 10-story building, hitting things all the way down, and still just get up and go, ooh, that hurt a little bit.
That's
Just
gonna
crack
that-
that back in.
Yeah.
That's
There we
going to
go.
hurt in the morning, I tell thee.
Let me ask you a question about Red Guardian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did he actually fight Cap in the 80s, or was that him, or whenever it was? Then when he said, he was in the Russian gulag
Yeah,
and he's boasting about how he faced off with Cap.
Probably would in the 80s. Yeah.
Did he fight Cap in the 80s? What Cap was it, or is he just full of it?
Yes.
I think he did, and I think it was Steve Rogers' Cap, and I think it's an alternate dimension version of him, and I think it ties back into what we're going to talk about later on.
Yeah, could be. Endgame, as well as Endgame,
As well as Endgame, yeah. Could be the time-travelling Cap who went across the dimensions and across time.
Well, I don't know about time travel.
So Steve Rogers went back in time and then stayed there,
yeah,
didn't he?
To return all the Infinity Stones to their normal timeline.
Oh, he did do that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit out of practice.
I very much like that the super soldier serum that he has is kind of defective, as in it gives him the strength, but it doesn't make him the best version of himself.
No,
doesn't
yeah.
make him into a terrible person. He's just a goof
Yeah.
who's really strong, loves his family, again in air quotes.
Oh, yeah.
And, because Cap at that age didn't have grey hair,
No.
didn't have middle-aged spread. He was just like, cut Steve Rogers.
Why was he in prison? I don't mean what did he do. I mean,
There's a bit of exposition in the
Is
movie.
there?
So, yeah.
I must have fallen asleep.
I think when he succeeds in his mission, the guy who was then in charge of the Red Room, Ray Winston, who has the worst Cockney Russian accent I've ever heard in my life.
If you want to talk accents, we can talk accents for hours because no one in this movie, they're either genius or not because they slip between American, Russian, and then it sort of settles so that it allows them to put an American accent on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's intentional because we never know where Black Widow's accent comes from. But anyway, yeah. So the terrible accent.
So he achieved his mission to blow up whatever he blew up at the start of the movie, get rid of that or burn it down or whatever it was, and then he wasn't welcomed back as a hero. He was put in prison. Yes, it.
But he would have got out, wouldn't he?
It's pretty tough prison.
Tough prison.
No, but
Tough prison.
He was in the middle of nowhere.
If
Does Cap still need food to survive? I mean, if does he get
Yeah, he
hungry?
does, but
Just because he's nails doesn't mean that he can't have like a Big Mac or something.
I feel like he would have got out. I don't know. It just felt for me. I was just like, you've shown him off to be like super strong and super badass. He probably would have got out.
but if he was comfortable there,
Yeah, true.
and he didn't have to
because he was
escape.
a big man on. He was a big fish in a little pond, wasn't he?
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever shown to be like nails or anything. I mean, he moved the car, knew that people were after him, got the family in the plane, and then landed. And that's all I kind of remember.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is he's arm wrestling people
Yeah.
with loads of tats, and he's got a big spread.
Just to say, if you liked the start of this film where they were in America as secret agents, as acting as a family, watch The Americans TV show.
I have heard.
Absolutely, it's that all the way. No one's a super soldier, but it's Russian
I'm out.
secret agents living in America, basically committing espionage acts all the way for the Soviet Union, set in the 80s, and it's flipping brilliant, and it's really, really, really good.
Let me try and draw something out of this. Try sort of like a snake bite on your arm. I'm going to suck on the wound and try and take out the venom of what we're saying.
That's no wives' tale. You'll get it even more infected faster doing that.
Oh,
So I'm going to try anyway.
Okay.
Was there anything about this film that really stood out as being really good? Because I feel like we've sort of like said baseline. It's flat line in terms of our excitement, and then we've kind of dropped off the cliff a little bit and said, oh, this bit's rubbish and that bit's rubbish and this bit's. Was there anything in this that we were like, do you know what? That was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I like the start. David Harbour was great as Red Guardian. Rachel Weisz was fantastic as
Melina.
That's her name. And I liked the fact that the whole science of the Red Room was built on her work. Some of the action set pieces were good, like the escape from the prison was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And I liked the fact that Taskmaster isn't dead and will be brought back possibly on Nasty Avengers coming up
Yes.
in some way, or she'll be used again in some way. I think because that character's too beloved within the comic book universe to not come back.
It'll 100% be the Thunderbolts. That you don't put General Ross in this movie and then not have Thunderbolts as a team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I thought, as if you're talking Marvel films, this is solid middle of the road, like Iron Man 2, Thor, the Dark Thor, that sort of thing.
I actually think it might be my least favourite.
Oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Having gone back and rewatched them recently, Thor 2 is fine. It's just fine.
Well, there's a lot in Thor 2 that gets referenced in what
Later
we're
on.
talking about
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Any good stuff from you?
A bit like Ben, I like the opening. Some of the action scenes, classic Marvel one-liners in there, and around situational comedy. I thought they all landed and they got a little smirk out of me.
Oh, and of course, Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Florence Pugh's my favourite bit, and I think her comedy taking the mick out of like the superhero landing.
Oh, so funny.
That stuck with me, that joke. I think that is a fantastic joke.
Yeah.
Because she's us then.
She's just taking the piss, and I like that.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was. You could have taken that film out, and it wouldn't have been a part of the Marvel universe in some ways. So, in my limited knowledge, didn't know much about Taskmaster.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that character. Thought that was brilliant. Again, like you said, David Harbour it just made me constantly chuckle. And I liked, what I quite liked is going back to that family element of it. I like them when they're in Melina's house on the farm and they're having their chat, and that sisterly type of interaction. I thought that was good, but some of it was just like not believable for me, and that detracted from the enjoyment of the film. I would love to have seen more about, a bit more in depth with Black Widow, the character. It felt like it was just like action, pow, pow, pow,
Well,
done.
what it was really, if you think about it, is it wasn't. It was a Scarlett Johansson Black Widow film, but we know, I think, all we're ever going to know about her. And now that obviously in the MCU she's dead, not that she's going to be dead forever. She can't not come back in some way, especially what we're going to talk about later. But what it really was it was like an origin film for Yelena.
Yeah,
It's
it was.
now.
Yeah.
Well, this is your Black Widow now. She's a bit rougher around the edges than the old Black Widow, but she's still pretty badass, and off you go. So, and if you pivot away from it being a Scarlett Johansson solo only film to it being that, but also an introduction to this character, and this is your new Black Widow, and that's how you move forward as the Black Widow character, it's fine. It's okay. I appreciate that. They've done that with other, like they've done that with Rhodey. They've done that with Falcon. They've done that with Bucky. They've done that with, Christ, I don't know, so many MCU characters. So, it was fine. It was enjoyable. I probably would have enjoyed it more if I saw it on a big screen, I think.
I agree,
Yeah, because I saw it at home.
Yeah.
And...
I think the characters, and therefore the actors portraying them, are wonderful and really wonderful to watch. And I think that's probably why the sitting around the dinner table scene works so well, because it's just the characters having their character time. And like you said earlier, Scarlett Johansson is wonderful. Florence Pugh, I think, is fantastic. She deserves all the accolades she gets because she is just a great actress.
Why aren't they speaking Russian then, though?
I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't
Ignore
matter.
it. Move on. Move past.
The problem with the movie for me is the plot. It's just really dumb, and it thinks it's clever, and it's just really dumb. And there are just sort of leaps in logic, and like I said, I for some reason this movie won't allow me to get rid of to suspend my disbelief like Iron Man will.
So if we had to rate this film,
Yeah.
what are you giving it?
I'm going to give it some Black Widows out of a red room.
What about you, JB?
I would say out of a maximum of 8, because 8
Oh,
legs
interesting.
on a spider, I'd probably give it 4.5 legs.
Oh, okay. I think it's solid 2.5 out of 5 for me. I think it's
Middle of the road.
Yeah, very much middle of the road. It's not terrible. It's not great. If people love this film, all power to them. I hope they get everything they want from it. But for me, I just wasn't blown away by it. It was fine.
I will say though that Will is a dickhead.
Oh, Will is 100% dickhead.
Yeah, yeah.
100%. You know, my brother-in-law Will.
Yeah, I
he's a
know.
dickhead.
Yeah,
Dickhead.
He tweets us all the time.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
dickhead.
Why are we saying that though?
Because he is a dickhead.
We just haven't mentioned it for a while, and I think it's important to make sure that we get that in there.
Oh. Okay, fine. Yeah, Will's a dickhead.
Yeah.
I felt massive amounts of peer pressure to say that then.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You were like, held up a sign saying that.
Don't forget
Forget
to
it.
say
Yeah,
Will's a
was
dickhead.
And then you prodded me with a sharp thing, and I had to say it. It was all you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cutting this out. Right.
You are not.
No way. No way.
Well, I'll reference it again in a minute. Don't worry.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Should we do some nerd scenes? Should we stop talking about Black Widow? I feel like Black Widow is a bit of an energy drain on us. It was fine. We don't have any more to say about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Nerd scene?
Yes.
NerdScene.
Are you putting the audio for nerd scene in here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I would have already done it.
Oh, right. Wicked. This has been so long. Like watching you edit is difficult.
Yeah.
Man United winning 1-0.
Oh, brilliant. Who scored?
Alanga.
Nice.
Nice.
I bet you leave that in.
I will. I'm gonna leave all of this in.
So I've got a couple of things I'll throw out there quickly.
Yes.
One of them I think might cross over with you, so I'll do mine, cross over to you, then we'll come to your benefits, okay?
Oh,
Sure, yeah.
So I've been playing D&D, Dungeons & Dragons, more than ever before, and
Is that what D&D stands for?
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now.
Oh, I thought you were reenacting the film Dumb and Dumber.
I think you're both being incredibly mean, and I think you should leave.
Okay, see ya.
And I'm absolutely loving it.
Good.
Every single moment of it is pure joy. And on top of that, I've also discovered, it's millions of people across the world are watching this, a TV show on YouTube called Critical Role, which is a series of voice actors who are the best of friends, who are running a campaign, playing it. I haven't watched Campaign 1 because that was years and years ago. Campaign 2 started in 2018 and finished in June this year. And
Wow.
We're on episode 13 of 141, and they're 4 hours long each. So it's taking up quite a bit of my time at the minute.
That's big time.
Good Lord. No wonder
Yeah.
you haven't done a document for tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Too busy watching this.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's great. It's like you would think, oh, I'm just watching people play Dungeons & Dragons. That's not going to be interesting. It's like watching people do make-believe. But it's watching someone narrate a beautiful story with a series of characters who are on the fly making decisions and doing things that are unexpected and funny and nerve-wracking and stupid, and it's great. And a lot of it is on the roll of the dice. I want to sneak around this corner so I don't get caught by the King's Guard. Roll for stealth. They roll really badly. They get put in prison.
Brilliant.
And then have to figure out how to get out. It's brilliant. I love it, and therefore I love playing as well. I've got 2 campaigns on the go at the minute. In the first one, I'm a human noble fighter with a great axe. And in my second campaign, which is not related, it's the second group of people, I've decided to play my first campaign's sister. And I'm a human noble bard who has a little bit of magic tricks and plays her bagpipes.
Oh, absolutely amazing. Isn't that fun? That's great.
Ben's glazed over.
A bard who plays bagpipes.
Yeah.
Feels like there's some sort of limerick in there somewhere that I'm going to try and come up with across the rest of this podcast.
We'll think of something at the end.
It's great. I really love it, and I would love if you guys were ever interested. I would happily get you involved. But it is a really, really good fun activity. It's make believe and it's silly and it's fun, but it also gives me so much joy doing it.
Good.
Yeah.
Just send me the link to that YouTube video account that you're following, and
Critical Role.
I'll stick it in the episode notes.
Cool. I mean, they're huge. There's this whole other layer of nerdiness that I just wasn't aware of. But literally millions and millions and millions of people across the world watch them and are fans of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's just this we've sort of cracked open the crisp packet of Critical Role, and it's just exploded like Pringles everywhere. It's
nice.
It's huge. It's massive.
Once you pop,
You
can't
Stop.
Yeah.
You can't, can you?
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. Did I mention about Will though?
I
I did earlier, but Ben might have taken it out, so we better put it in here.
What did you say about him?
He's a dickhead.
He is a dickhead.
Yeah, okay. And the other thing that I've been watching is Masters of the Universe Revelation. I've watched 2 episodes of it, trying to get you to watch it, Ben, but I've stopped peer pressuring you because the first episode I thought was smashing. I think it was great. It had a
Smashing?
It was action packed. It was funny. It was interesting. It had a really good ending.
Yes.
Really good ending. The first episode. And a really good premise, and I was well up for it. And then the second episode came along, and I thought it was dull as dishwater, and that's a real shame because of the premise that was put up. Shall I spoil it?
I don't care. I'm never going to watch it.
Are you? Whoa! Hang on a second, there, my friend. You said.
I said.
I quote. Go on.
Then. No.
I
no,
said.
You tell me what I said, JB.
Oh,
Go on,
I
go on.
said something along the lines.
Shall I check the text?
Hang on. Something along the lines
Well, I
of.
can't remember exactly what you said.
Oh, you can't remember exactly what I said.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'm going to put your face up. I said, if I like it,
Yeah.
and I text you that I like it because I think you'll like it, then
Yeah.
you said you would watch the first episode. I quote.
Fine. And I said.
Okay, it was a really long message that said that. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I think
And
I said
then-
it face to face. You weren't there.
No, but there wasn't.
There was a long message as well.
Yeah.
But then you both watched the second episode and said, "Oh, it wasn't as good." And I'm like, "That's it. I'm out."
Let me tell you. Right?
No, don't.
Just really.
Okay.
Spoilers for Masters of the
I won't spoil
Universe.
too much.
whatever it is.
Right, okay, so the first episode plays out like an original series episode of Masters of the Universe, and then about halfway through it gets a little bit darker and a little bit heavier, and then it's a sort of really interesting, like Infinity War type dead drop end of the first episode, and you're like, oh, okay, and it sets up for this really fantastic opportunity for a strong feminist action TV show, taking all of the great content from a show that people have loved for years and making it modern. And I think it could achieve that if only it wasn't so boring.
Oh,
I thought the second episode was really boring.
It's a bit of a chewer. You know, it's like going to a nice restaurant, ordering a delightful steak, getting through halfway, and first half's lovely, and then all of a sudden you're like, ooh. Yeah. But I've watched all of them now.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's getting some hate on the internet.
Oh,
because
some big hate.
people on the internet are horrible.
Yes.
People on the internet are horrible.
I haven't seen any of that. I've seen lots of people saying how much they enjoyed it.
Well, there's the
I still think I won't watch it, but
can you guess the group of people that hate it?
no.
Okay, anti-feminists. How dare Master of the Universe be about anything other than He-Man, the big muscly man? It must be about big muscly. It's a cartoon about action figures.
Yes.
Get over yourself.
Yes.
It can be about the women.
I concur.
Yes, exactly.
I almost don't want to watch it even more now.
You kind of should watch it because of that.
I think you should watch
know.
it. Though one thing that got me is I only after about the third episode I realised who was voicing Teela.
Oh, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
Oh, Buffy.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's got an amazing cast. Mark Hamill's in it.
Yeah.
Skeletor, right?
A guy who plays Davros in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Man at Arms.
Who I realised sounds just like Liam Neeson.
He does,
Because I thought
yeah.
it was Liam Neeson, and I had to look it up.
And
Lena
Headey.
Yeah, she's in it. She's Evil Lynn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Maybe
Okay.
I'll give it a... Okay,
I've
hang
forgotten
on.
what I was
Let
going
me
to
do
say.
it
Oh yeah, so the voicing of Teela, like the character, and then listening to her voice, for me doesn't fit.
Right. Okay.
Like, yeah, but there we go.
again. Is she writing it?
No.
Well, the reason for that is probably because there's a current ongoing She-Ra series, which is done in a very different animation style that's actually retelling her origin, whereas this is a sequel to the original cartoon series.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Are you ready?
Yep. I think you should
Fine,
watch
I'll
it.
give it a go.
Okay, it's 5 episodes. What? 24 minutes.
Yeah, it's really.
If though after episode 2, I'm like, oh, this is just.
Well,
not
we'll
worth my
push a
time.
little bit further. Do half of episode 3 as well.
Okay.
and then you can go from there.
So that's like an hour. I can give up an hour.
You can give her.
Justin Long, Henry Rollins, Stephen Roots. You know who these people are, even if
Yes.
you don't know the names.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anyway, so that's the end of my nerd scene and some of your nerd scene.
Yeah. So I will say I watched Shazam the other day.
Oh, love that movie.
Still never seen it.
Fuck, excuse me.
Wow.
That's made this one an explicit podcast.
We have said that Will is a dickhead quite a lot, so it's probably...
That is true. And apparently he is.
Yeah.
I thought Shazam was brilliant.
It's great.
So good. Really enjoyable. Loved.
You have a fly in your eye.
Fly on you. Go away. fly.
There's no flies on me. Obviously there is. Yeah. Can't say anything more about it. I just think it was outstanding.
Yeah.
It's just really easy watching. I think it's a really hard skill, and it probably isn't. It's probably like lesson 101 on acting. Like,
Right.
you got to be, when you're an adult and you got to try and act like you're a kid.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is easy.
No.
And I thought it was brilliant. I liked all of the whole family aspect, all of these like loners and all of it. Just all of it.
You're a bit of a sucker for a family scene, aren't you?
Oh, I do like a little family scene.
Yeah.
Love a lovely little cuddle.
They're filming the number 2 now.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, Shazam 2. That fly is loving you.
Yeah, it is. Maybe
It's
anyway.
because you smell so sweet.
It is. And
Strawberry
the
flavour.
other thing I've not seen but read is I am now up to issue 122 from the Invincible comics.
That is... You have absolutely JB'd that.
You have. You've smashed that to bits, mate.
I wonder whether you could get that in the dictionary. JB'd it.
Yeah. How many times has this happened, Ben? Right, you and I are like, JB, you should probably try this thing. And he's like, I'll give it one episode. And then we speak to him a week later and he's at least halfway through.
Done it. Oh, I always finished
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I did that with Loki as well. I watched that over,
You
I
did.
think, 2 nights.
We were supposed to record this last week.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, we've got like 3 nights to do this. And you're like, oh, yeah, better watch Loki.
And you JB'd that.
I would just say that. So, I obviously watched the TV show Invincible before reading the comics, and so I found it a little bit difficult for the first couple of volumes because there was so much packed into the first season of the TV show that was all over the shop, and I felt to myself, how is this all working? However, once I got over that,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, big wow.
It's interesting because I remember us talking about it early on when the stuff you're talking about, how it kind of seemed a slower pace in the comic. But my memory of the comic, and I think yours is probably true, is that it's a very fast-paced comic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's interesting that once you had got over that hurdle of the first season content, that you have also found it very fast-paced.
Yeah, and I think I need to also remember, because I think I've spoken to you, Nate, about it. That I'm reading it and I'm like, God, there's so much repetition. And then you're like, yeah, there was like, these are monthly issues.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that would explain quite a lot, because I'm smashing like 2 or 3 issues a night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then sometimes I'm a little bit naughty and I'll read like the first 2 pages of the next issue because I know. I didn't do that once I turned the page and I saw Thrag and Battle Beast fighting. I was like, I'm stopping. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to save that for some real nice time.
That Thrag and Battle Beast fight is absolutely incredible.
I just want to say, I mean, can we talk about spoilers for this? I'm sure we can.
Spoilers for Invincible. Spoilers for
Okay.
Invincible.
It came out years ago.
But what I loved about that is the honour that Battle Beast wants to have. He wants to have no advantage. He wants to fight somebody. If they're injured, I'm going to be injured. But what I really like about it in the comic is you have this fight, and then all of a sudden you turn the page and you're like, where's the fight gone? Where's the fight gone? And then you've got like it's slamping in the middle, like Mark and Eve talking about leaving Earth or whatever, or all the things that Rex is doing. And then you turn about another 3 or 4 pages, and there's this just big spread of like Dragon Battle Beast fighting the shenanigans out of each other. I'm like,
ripping each
cool.
other apart.
I'm like,
Yeah.
where's it gone? I think they spread that fight over like a couple of issues.
I think it was
Maybe
across
even
one whole volume, basically,
Yeah,
like six issues, maybe.
something
I think.
like that. And then you get to the sort of the end of that, and you're just like, even though it wasn't page for page, I still felt exhausted. Even though you had your breaks.
So whereabouts? So you're on, what did you say, 122?
Yeah.
So just remind, because I think I know where you are, but at the same time I don't want to give it away. So what happened in the last issue that you read?
So Mark and Eve have gone. I've forgotten the name of the planet where Oliver is, and
Telescria.
and Alan is.
Yes.
Alan's just asked him to asked Mark to be like do some work for him, like undercover.
Yes.
Rex is taking over Earth and made it a much better place, and all the superheroes.
But at what cost, James?
I don't know yet. Superheroes all escaped, but they're all coming like they're all saying like we're irrelevant because Rex has sorted everything out. Like crime is down, we could never do this. X, Y, and Z. Mark and Eve have had their baby. Nolan is not doing too much that I'm aware of. Thrag's just beaten Battle Beast and is oh my god, can't remember the race, but he's impregnating them and he's getting
the Thraxans.
The Thraxans. He is just
not the Flaxans.
No.
The Thraxans.
Yes, I
yeah.
believe so,
They
yes.
are just producing Viltrumites like
Yeah. Yes.
like it's going out of fashion.
He's using it as like his own personal breeding ground, isn't
Yeah,
he?
and there's a lot of them. So that's where I'm.
You are getting to a bit that will blow your brains apart before you get to the final 12 issues of the End of All Things.
Oh, I just remember what it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spaghetti Monster.
There's a lot going on, and there's always a lot of brains being blown apart.
Yes.
I think the biggest and most shocking bit is the introduction of Angstrom Levy as a character, and I'm like, well, there's your dimensional jumps, and then bringing all the Invincibles from the different dimensions to Earth, and the rampage that causes. And
That's only one issue, though.
I
The
know.
Invincible War is one issue.
I know, it's crazy.
But people forget that because what happens straight after the Invincible War is Conquest shows up, and shit gets really real.
Really real.
Yeah. Man.
Though I'm not altogether happy with the storyline with Mark and the Viltrumite lady, who's I definitely can't remember.
No,
her
you
name.
shouldn't be happy with that.
No, I just find that really peculiar and weird.
And as is right.
I know who you mean.
No.
I don't know why that's.
No.
I don't
What's
know.
her name?
I don't know why that's there.
Do you know what I'm going to Google? Female.
Yeah, so this is a
Viltrumite.
massive spoiler for the comic.
Anissa.
Anissa, that's her name.
I don't want to know spoilers.
Massive spoiler for the comic, but you know it because you've
Okay.
read it, and it's a massive spoiler for the TV show. But I think it's like issue 113, maybe 110, something like that. But Mark gets raped by a female Viltrumite called Anissa. She's a full-blooded, pure-blooded Viltrumite, and she is older than Mark and stronger than Mark, and she overpowers him and she rapes him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the face you're pulling is the right face.
I just don't get it. I don't know why that needed to be there. I don't know what
Keep reading because
Yeah, it's horrible.
It is.
It's horrible, right?
Well, I had to put the
Okay.
comic down when I read that. There's like a page that is like a splash page, and there's little panels within the page itself, and it's showing you the progression of her attacking him, basically, and how much she's enjoying it and getting off on it, and how he is horrified and saying, no, and she's ripping his clothes off, and she's like on him. Yeah, it's really tough to read. At the same time, Robert Kirkman never leaves any thread dangling. You will get a conclusion to all of that.
Okay.
But you've got to keep reading.
Oh, I will.
You're feeling the right things.
Yeah, I just and it's just like it was just a random thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all through all of the other issues, you've never. I'm trying to think. There's nothing. I don't know what I don't want to say real life, but you know you I don't know, head exploding or whatever, all of that sort of stuff. But that is like kind of like, ooh.
Well, that's sexual violence. That's not just violence. That's sexual violence, and it's not something you expect to read in a comic book.
No, I
and
didn't-
it was quite.
Or anywhere really.
Yeah, and it's quite. It takes you back when you read it.
Yeah.
But it does. You know, don't get me wrong. It's not in there for the sake of it being in there.
No.
It is there for plot development and character development and the way things play out that are born from that moment are very interesting.
Okay.
Just keep it up. Keep
And
it reading.
I think the way it's included and the way you've described it and the way you felt about it is probably meant to mirror some of that real world stuff that happens, those real world emotions that happens when it does happen, because it's quite often not expected and quite often horrific, and quite often you don't know how to process the emotion after
absolutely.
it. So I think that's actually quite clever on his part. I'm not sure that it's something that I would ever choose to put in any writing. I did,
No,
but
exactly.
you know what I mean.
I know. So there's me. That's been taking up a little bit of my time.
Have you done any NerdScene?
Yeah, a little bit. My daughter is 12 now, and her friends have been watching Friends on Netflix, and they've watched all of it. So we have to now watch it so she can get up to speed with it. We're on about season 4, I think, and it's still fun and bits and pieces. Some bits have really aged poorly.
It's problematic, isn't it?
Yeah, like how they treat characters who might be gay
Yeah.
is not good, and yeah. But at the same time, there are bits that you laugh and it's funny.
Also, maybe women aren't given the best shot in it.
Yeah, maybe.
Over sexualized, perhaps.
Maybe.
Well, maybe. But what I will say is that at times when it's there are episodes where you always remember them. Like there are bits where, okay, so for example, there's the episode where they're watching the video where they're about to go to prom, and Rachel's date doesn't show up, and Ross is filmed by his mum and dad, and they're talking him into going, going with her to save Rachel, because otherwise she's not going to have a date to her senior prom. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And then as he's coming downstairs in his dad's tuxedo with a bunch of flowers in his hand, they're all flying out the door because her date showed up, and Ross is fucking devastated. Now I've sworn. Thank you, JB.
Brilliant. Normally he's the
It's
first
Will's fault.
It is.
It
What a
is Will.
dickhead.
What a dickhead. Anyway, so he's coming downstairs with that. They go because he's turned up and he's devastated. And then they're watching that home movie from the 80s, like in the 90s. And then Rachel sees that Ross has cared about her for a really long time.
Yeah.
And they get together and it's sweet. And then they split up and it's ugh. And we're just at that point at the moment. But my daughter's loving it. Absolutely loving it.
I'll tell you the one scene and episode that I remember the most from Friends, and it's always stuck to my head, is when Ross wears leather trousers and then goes into the bathroom of his date and then tries to get them off, and then makes a paste with the talcum powder and the blender, and he does this bit where he sort of slips and whacks himself in the head with it, and that's always stuck with me.
I think that's coming up soon.
Whoa! Nearly had a
We're in a British pub. We would have gone,
yeah,
man,
I didn't
close.
spill liquid over all of the electronics that we got on the table.
Sugar puffs. That was close.
Yeah, I think that's coming up. I'll enjoy that. Yeah. That's good.
I like the teeth with Ross when he gets it white.
Oh, gets them whitened.
Absolutely.
What about when Ross goes to the tanning salon and then turns around and turns around again? It's the face. That's quite fun. That's actually quite fun.
Have you watched it? Did you say you've watched the reunion then? Because I've watched the
No,
reunion.
I've seen the reunion.
Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything else?
Yeah, just a couple more things. So I've been reading I've read 3 issues of a new comic from Jeff Johns, I know, problematic, and Gary Frank called Geiger, which is an Image comic, Top Cow Image, and it's great. Yeah. It's set, I think, 40 or 50 years after some sort of nuclear event, and there's a nuclear-powered superhero in it called Geiger, and it's really good fun. And the artwork, I mean, it's
Gary Frank.
It's Gary Frank.
It's going to be the best artwork in the world ever. Yeah.
Chef's kiss. And I'm just going to throw this one out here because this is relevant slightly to what we're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading a Marvel comic at the moment called What If, and it's Spider-Man, Spider's Shadow. And it asks the story of what if Peter Parker never got rid of the black suit? And he kept the Venom symbiote that sort of tried to bond to him. It's really good. It's Chip Zdarsky writing. It's Pascal Ferry. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Yeah. The artwork is very, very good. And it's really good. Chip Zdarsky's great. And it's leaning into, well, eventually he'd start to kill villains, and eventually he'd sort of get sick of J. Jonah Jameson mouthing off about him all the time, so he'd go and pay him a visit and maybe break his hand because he can. And then he might realise that something's not right here, and then but because the symbiote is so close to completely bonding with him, it won't give him up completely. And then maybe the Fantastic Four get involved, and then maybe the Avengers get involved, and it's bloody great. It's 4 issues I've read so far, and all of them have been brilliant.
That's interesting that they're doing What If over many issues. What If used to be single issues, and it used to be just like a throw it out there as an idea, but presumably because the new What If show is coming out, they're making
quite
a
possibly.
thing about
It's a
it.
cartoon, isn't it?
It is. Apparently, though, there are going to be some... it's not throwaway. Apparently, there are going to be things that are in it that are going to come up in some other multiverse type films and TV shows.
Okay.
What with there being lots and lots of branches that they could be in.
See how I just perfectly teed you up there
Oh,
for Loki?
yeah.
Do you?
Can I just say before we say anything else?
Yeah.
This is the best Marvel property that has come out in years.
I'm inclined to agree with you. It's definitely the best Marvel TV show. I think it pips WandaVision because it's more... WandaVision was a little bit, what's going on? This is weird. Oh, I get it. But still, what's going on? Oh, I get it. But this is all the way through superb.
Yeah.
I don't think it beats Endgame and Infinity War as a double header. But I get what you're saying.
It's great. Jason, do you like it?
Super, super, super important for how the
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe continues after this. Full spoilers for Loki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh my god, thank God.
I mean,
That's the right answer.
Yes,
I
correct,
think,
yeah. I always
I
want
think,
to clap
I think in order to JB something, you need to enjoy it.
True,
even
true.
if I'm gonna, it's gonna be on a podcast. I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing it. And in fact, we did do that when we chose probably between us awful movies that we had to watch.
Yeah.
Split Second. I don't know whose
Oh.
choice that was,
Oh.
but however, this was pretty darn good. And Tom is absolutely the shit in it. And I also really like Owen Wilson. I don't know what it is about his voice, but man, that dude needs to do bedtime stories on
Yeah.
CBeebies, because you could easily get a good story out of it.
It's like olive oil and golden syrup, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was just this beautiful,
Yeah.
soft
I
sound.
just loved it. And
You should do a, what is it, like an ASMR?
Yeah, that's right.
podcast
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. It's like the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Yeah.
It's cool. Quietly whispers into a podcast microphone in his southern drawl. Wow. I'd love that.
Wow.
The person you haven't mentioned, though, I think absolute standout is Sophia Di Martino, who as Sylvie, who is just out of this world. Great in this show.
Yes, she is. Absolutely. I didn't realise it was going to be a female variant of Loki. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be some sort of demon version of Loki. You know,
I thought it might be young Loki, to be honest.
I suspected there would be, like, you know, the Vote Loki, President Loki chap.
Yeah,
I thought he might have been the big bad, or he might have been manipulating someone who was another version of Loki that was a big bad. But then she wasn't really a big bad. She was just
A variant.
a variant
And
of Loki.
that's the point of the show,
who'd
right?
been running her whole life.
But that's the whole point of the show, is that you right at the beginning you're like, variants are bad. So you
Yeah, the TVA have got us. Damn it.
and then when she's not bad, you're like,
Yeah, but the what they're saying is bad is because you're branching off of the timeline.
Yeah.
So that's why it's bad, because if they let that happen, all time and would go out of shit, and you would be all over the place.
But is that a problem?
It all depends.
Question mark?
It's a bit like, do you alphabetize your DVD collection so you can easily find your Bill and Ted Bogus Journey? Because if someone puts it in the other way, you're going to take a lot longer to find it.
When I was a lot younger, I was very anal about the order of my videos, my VHSs and my DVDs, and everything had to be alphabetized. One time, I made it alphabetized by director. I was so anal about it. I had such a thing. These days, the pile is lucky if it's straight.
Yeah, but it's just different priorities at the time,
Yeah.
isn't it? And all of that sort of stuff. And
I could have guessed that about this prick, you know.
Yeah, me too.
When he was a kid, but he alphabetized by director. What an asshole, honestly.
like episode on episode, this is outstanding.
Yeah.
And I just like the journey that you're taken on, and you go and there's a few questions, and then all of a sudden it's answered, and there's not too much sort of especially for me, difficulty in understanding the timeline sort of stuff. They simple Simoned it down. Love the I've forgotten the clock character's name, but doesn't matter.
Oh, Mrs. Minutes.
Yeah,
Miss
that
Minutes.
was
Sorry,
really.
I thought I got the fly, but it got away.
Okay.
All you end up doing is just making a really loud bang.
Sorry, yeah. Hang on, I think I got the fly. Oh no, I haven't got the fly.
I'll edit it out.
But yes, love it.
I think it looks beautiful from start to finish. I mean, not just like the way it's shot, which is great, but I think the design of everything,
The
is
70s
it's
office
just-
aesthetic.
and like his shirt that he ends up wearing, his variant shirt. I don't know what it's just beautiful. It's got these lines that come down, and it just makes his waist go in, and he's stunning in it as well. And he's a beautiful man. It looks great. The script, the story is amazing. The effects are amazing. It's short and sharp and snappy, and it's 6 episodes, and you're done. And the villain, oh my god, chef's kiss. Just,
Look at him
Oh,
now.
I just loved it. I absolutely loved it.
When you say the villain,
Yeah.
who do you mean?
So I mean, it's
He Who Remains?
He Who Remains. It's Kang, but like just.
Well, no, it's not. It's
No,
He Who Remains.
But that's why it's so wonderful, because it's a genius move on Marvel's part and on that actor's part. He is set for life.
This is Jonathan Majors,
who
yes.
was just wonderful. He
Yeah.
was just. I mean, the last episode was an episode of dialogue, and oh my god, edge of the seat stuff. The
Yeah.
whole episode.
I thought that you would have hated that episode
Oh,
because you
it
are
was
all
wonderful.
about show don't tell, and all that episode did was tell and not show. Oh, it showed a little bit where it did like the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
This is what we used to do.
But-
People,
but it was-
you know, like the little granular puppety things.
It was less exposition and more thought experiment. All of
Okay.
it was like, what if we do this? And then the argument about it. And I nearly knocked that glass over again because I'm
Thank you,
being
James.
so
It's
articulate.
winding me up with it.
Yeah. The reason it's so clever with what's it, Jonathan Majors, He Who Remains, he can now play Kang 100 times. 100 different versions of him in the past, in the present, in the future. He can be an evil version, a good version. He can have young versions of him. He can be older versions of him. It's genius. It's Thanos all over again, but just so many layers to it because he's not a big punch you in the face bad guy. He's a person that outsmarts you through time. Oh my god, I love it. This is pure Marvel nerdery for me. I love it. I love it.
You're getting your hit, aren't you?
Yeah, I really am. I'm
It's
like, yes, get it in there.
Go, like, let's get the belt on, and then where's Loki?
But you know what I mean? Like when I used to talk about like Annihilation, the series, which is cosmic stuff, which was like it had lots of layers. And you've read Annihilation. It's really deep, and it's got characters like Drax who are really given sort of a rich backstory, and they've given lots to do. And then when they do Guardians of the Galaxy, the movie, yeah, it's great fun. Everyone enjoys it. It's James Gunn, but it doesn't do quite the justice of those comics. I think this show, it's original in terms of its content, but it does everything that Marvel has tried to do in the past with cosmic stuff. I think it's a comic book on the screen.
What I like is that I agree with all of that, by the way, completely. Everything that you like about Tom Hiddleston's Loki, every single bit from every film that he's been in as Loki is up on that screen for six episodes?
Yeah,
for 6 episodes. And he runs the full gamut of his Loki-ness throughout the MCU.
Nice.
He starts off as a prick.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, you imbecile.
Yeah.
And this is absurd. And then, wait a minute, he's completely stupid. And then he sees how his life plays out. He sees his mum dying. He sees himself get his neck broken by Thanos.
That's such a smart move.
And the way he's like, this would never happen to me. This would only happen to that variant. Oh my God. And then you see a physical, chemical change in Loki, in Tom Hiddleston's Loki. And then he becomes a bit more sympathetic, like he is, I guess...
Thor 2?
Well, maybe not Thor 2, but maybe more towards the end of Ragnarok. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's such a clever move. I think you're so right to point it out because they've killed Loki in Endgame. In Endgame.
Yeah. Infinity War.
Sorry, Infinity War. So you to do some cosmic-y, nonsense-y stuff, it might feel a bit... It feels... it diminishes the loss of that character.
Yeah.
So then when you have got the time travel of another character, he is a different character, like you say. He's the villain. He's the villain from Avengers.
Yeah.
You've got to somehow fast forward to him being sympathetic again.
And it shows the character. Sorry, JB, you go. ahead.
No. I mean, you. Hopefully, we're about to say the same thing. Is you nailed it because you see this through the film, but then he's jumped into that timeline and he's still a cocky prick.
Yeah.
He's like, it's butter wouldn't melt. I could do anything. And then there's a couple of he has that realization, and it's like click. Yeah. There's another click. Okay, maybe I'm not that great, and maybe there is another way of thinking about things. Another click, until almost kind of falling in love with yourself.
Yeah.
This is the Loki at the start of the episode. It's right after the first Avengers film where he tried to take over Earth, starting with New York, tried to control it, be the ruler of Earth, and at the end of Loki, he's given the opportunity to get that, to be the ruler of Earth, to have the Infinity Stone, to kill Thanos, who killed him, and he saw it on that tape of his life, which I thought was very well done, by the way.
I thought the technology in this was great. They didn't need to explain anything. They just went with it, and it just was there, and it worked.
It reminded me a little bit like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, and I think it's supposed to have that kind of that fun, silly, yeah.
So it showed his character growth because at the start he just wanted that, and at the end, 6 episodes later, he's offered that. And he's like, well, no, I don't want it. I want this person to be okay. That's his growth. His growth is he's in love with himself.
See,
a different version of himself.
I don't think he's in love with himself. I agree, and I think that you definitely, when you first see them starting to fall for each other, you're like, ooh, that feels a little strange. But I think
didn't like the kiss. That's the one complaint I have about the show.
But I think it's genius because in episode 4, 3, whatever, when they almost touch hands.
Yeah,
that's all that happens. They almost touch hands.
And it creates that.
It creates an almost explosive event.
Yeah,
and then when they kiss, that is the moment when Sylvie pushes him out, stabs Kang, and then the entire multiverse explodes and comes out, and becomes branches again. So I think that's really clever.
Yes,
because the tension of the nearly touching hand is like like high school, first love, and then the sort of passionate explosion of this kiss, which was in itself quite an innocent kiss, is that explosive moment. I think it's really clever. I think that, like I say, the actor playing Sylvie is wonderful, and I thought I could watch her doing her thing for hours and hours. I thought she was great.
I've never seen anything before. Have you guys?
No.
But she was fantastic and very Loki-like.
Yes,
I thought very Loki-like.
I
Does that make sense? Loki-like.
Loki-like.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Loki-like.
Yeah, Loki-like. Loki-like.
You like what I did there. I think the story was genius.
Agreed.
Like the TVA, and then all of a sudden
What is the story, JB?
Well, the story for me is about the TVA.
Or just the whole show.
The whole show.
Break it down. You got 10 seconds?
Why have you got to do that? I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that. There's no way I can do it.
Just keep talking.
But I've lost my train of thought. Yes, Varian, Loki getting arrested, going through the process. There's this time police. Everyone thinks they're doing the right thing, and actually, what happens is because of female Loki diving into one of the TVA staff, it's like she's got all these memories, like she's from Earth or she's from this, and then they're like,
so all the TVA are variants,
all of them.
Yeah, they're not created by the time.
It had what
are they called?
Timekeepers.
Timekeepers.
It had more subterfuge and mystery than Black Widow, which was supposed to be a spy movie.
Yes,
it was really good.
Meow.
Yeah.
It was, and I love that all of a sudden sort of Owen Wilson's character has to trust Loki, which is one of the hardest things. I mean, a couple of things that I didn't like was that double negatives of, do you trust me? No, you don't trust me. Or you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And is it like, he's going to just do that anyway? Yeah. That was a little bit for me, sometimes took away from it. But in general, I could smash that. I could go and watch 6 episodes back to back now.
Wasn't the friendship between Mobius and Loki? It was it was like real. Like you felt like they actually did grow to like each other, grow to want to care
they
for
had
one
to
another.
they had to pull together. They had to pull together.
The hug, you know, at the end when they're outside of time,
Yeah.
they're in the place where you go after you get
Yeah.
pruned, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's pretty.
When Mobius is going to go back and Loki embraces him and says, "Thank you, my friend," I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, did you cry?
I got choked up.
Yeah.
I got choked up because it was a beautiful character moment. Because Loki had stopped being a dick
Yeah.
and it was and had started to trust someone other than his brother.
That was
it was
my
Mobius.
and it was the man who captured him, who was the police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was my. I would say if we've poured a lot of love of this. My least favorite thing was that episode where they go to the place where they've been pruned. I thought it was quite slapstick. And
Did you not like the other Loki variants though?
no,
Alligator Loki?
no. I think you put anyone in a room with Richard E. Grant and Tom Hiddleston, and they all look rubbish.
Oh well, that's true. I
And
mean,
so
I thought that Kid Loki was a
He wasn't a very good
Not-
actor, I
not
didn't
much.
think. Yeah, and that's a shame. And
boastful Loki was.
did what he needed to do on
Yeah.
the screen, but wasn't that interesting. And I think that's a good problem to have. You've got two amazing actors in the room, right?
Yeah.
But still, I was a little bit when they started having the fight, and it was quite slapstick.
About when Alligator Loki bites off President Loki's hand, and Loki looks at it and he's like, "Ah!" just died laughing at that point.
It was a bit dumb. for
I
me.
loved it.
Yeah,
I
I
loved
can
it.
see that.
I loved it.
But I quite like that the Richard E. Grant's like sort of old Loki, if you like, had the outfit from the comics and had powers similar to the comics, that sort of green and stuff. But I did think it was a little silly.
Sure. Loki's powers seem to have evolved somewhat in the show.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you can fire laser blasts or green magic blasts or something.
Does it matter?
No.
What this is a genuine question for you, because all we've really done in this podcast is kind of nerd out, right? But here's a big question, a sort of a psychological question to think about.
Oh God.
Well, why is it okay in Loki for him to have undisclosed powers that he can use at any time he wants, that change and transform, and we don't question it and we're happy? Why is that okay? But then the Black Widow movie, things happen which are explained very in depth that we just don't buy into.
Because Loki is a demigod from Asgard
Right.
that lives in space.
So
And,
you think-
and also is the child of a frost giant from Jotunheim.
Right. So you
Does
think
that answer your question,
Well,
Nathan?
maybe.
I was going to say exactly the same.
right? But you're saying it's the context within it that allows you to believe that.
He's magic.
Yeah, no.
He was
okay.
raised by a witch.
The question I'm saying is, you just said, his powers change and we just accept it,
Sure.
and it's not explained to us. Why do we accept that, and then we don't? And then, like I said earlier, that I had trouble, with believing that the nonsense in Black Widow.
I believe James has the answer.
I don't know if I have the answer, but it's because that we know, because we are human, we know what we are capable of.
Right, okay.
Whereas if someone brings in like a wizard, they could be, you're just not surprised. Well, they're a wizard, they can do that, because
Right.
that's the premise of. That's the box I think that wizards can do. I mean, they can
Right.
do anything.
Right, okay, yeah.
They're not limited on some things. Whereas I think Sylvie and Loki, when they're trying to take over the beast. To
Yeah,
get into,
yeah.
Loki's like, I don't know if I can do this, because she's done it and
Yeah.
she does it all the time.
Right.
He then can tap into it. But if you were to say, like, Black Widow, you've now got to go and pick up a car. Like,
Right.
just lift a car up like Captain America can do. Well, she can't, because
Because they've established rules that she's a human.
There's your boundaries of what a human body can do. Whereas wizards, we just don't. If you give me something and say wizards can't do that, I'll be like, well, there's a lie in that film.
Right.
Wizards can't do that.
Okay, so it's the box that I've talked about before on this podcast. So
Yeah.
we know that they've explicitly drawn a box around Black Widow and said she's a human, and that's her role on the Avengers. She's like an incredibly skilled human.
Yeah.
And she's got loads of gadgets, but she's human.
Yes.
And so because of that, whenever she does something like fall off a 5-story, 10-story building and survives with just a scratch, we go, you've broken the box rules.
Yeah.
But with Loki, there's no box drawn around him. You say, he is Loki, he's the god of mischief. He has undisclosed amount of powers that when they happen are fun and interesting.
Yeah. There's,
Right.
and I guess
Because he's a frost giant child.
yeah, and the same with Thor. Like, you know, Thor is a god, and he just can take a lot of beatings
Yeah.
and then just get up from it. But it's more of a beating that he could take. Like Captain America giving him a couple of things. If Captain America was to hit Black Widow, he'd take her head off.
Yeah.
Because of the physical bits of all of that.
There is a little bit more to it. Like, it's also plot. I'm interested in sort of looking at here. Like, Black Widow's plot becomes very intricate and
Does it?
well, it thinks it is, and it's got silly layers, and it's like, we control the whole world and the pheromones and stuff. Like, that feels. It just feels silly. Whereas when I see Loki jumping through time and pouring his drink over someone, like that doesn't seem silly to me.
But they spend an episode or two building up how that all works, and because of the aesthetic of the universe that they've built all that into, you just go, yeah, that works, that makes sense. That also computes with what I've seen before in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I get all that. I'll just accept that as that works.
Right.
It just works like that.
Whereas in Black Widow, it's like I said again about the box. You've drawn a box around it. She's a super spy. Oh, and by the way,
She's an Avenger.
Yeah, but by the way, there's this world-ending silly plot that is going on in the background. That
She's also armed with plot armor. She's wearing plot armor in the
is.
fact that you know when she dies, and it ain't in this film, so
Yeah,
they can
that's
do
true.
whatever they want.
that is true.
I have a question to ask you both.
Oh
Go
no!
for it.
Is it only me that wants to be trapped in Loki's time prison where he gets punched in the face and kneading the balls by Sif?
Yeah, that's just you. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
checking. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
really
was-
like Sif. It was
There's-
great to see her back.
There was other things that she could do in a time loop for me.
Wow.
She'd get me a cup of tea.
Do you know what I really
Oh,
liked?
man.
Do you know what I really liked?
Oh, man.
I really liked how Loki reached out to her and said, "Look, I get it. I'm nothing. I'll always be alone. You're right." And he sort of explains it. And then she doesn't knee him in the balls and punch him in the face. But I can't even remember the words that she says. But it almost hurts worse. And it's like, and he's like, oh.
Can I just say, like, what a way to torture somebody?
Yeah.
I mean, having it like Groundhog Day, literally, but only lasting for like 7 minutes, and
Yeah.
then just happening because he lands there. He's like, "Whoa, great! You've just put me in this," and then in she walks, does it, walks out, and then he kind of like that. Oh, he's like that, and then he's like, "Oh no!" And then there's a realization that, "Nah, this can't happen again." Or you think you can beat it, and then it takes. I mean, you don't know how long he's there for, but.
Do you know what? He could have been there for a week and we wouldn't have known. And he wouldn't have known because time would have no meaning to him. All that's happening is he's repeatedly getting punched in the face and kneed in the balls and put down by the Lady Sith.
Does this show break the established rules of time travel from Endgame?
No, because the established rules of time travel from Endgame were flimsy at best, I think.
Agreed.
Yes.
Tony Stark figures out time travel in an afternoon.
I
They go, can you figure out time travel? He goes, no, I won't do it. And then that night he goes, yeah, done it.
Yeah.
just throw a Mobius strip in there.
Mobius,
Throw
yeah.
a Mobius strip in there for you. Yeah, that works. All right. What I think it would do, I think any preconceived notions that we got from Endgame or that you believe about time travel in the MCU, forget them. They make no sense at all. You can have branches now because there are branches everywhere. The Sorcerer Supreme, when she was explaining it to Dr. Banner, when he was in his astral form, outside of the Hulk Banner form. Well, that is now what's happening. All those branches are what is happening now. The timeline is gone. It's exploded, and there are branches within branches within branches within branches. None of that can be controlled because he who remains has been killed by Sylvie, which means that Kang and all the forms of him across the multiverse are now everywhere.
Free.
Let me
now leads into everything that comes next.
Let me give you some Kang sizzle from the comics that they may do in a long time. They might do it, right?
Please.
So they're setting up sort of young Avengers quite a lot, right? So we know Isaiah Bradley in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. His grandson was there. It was Isaiah was the older man, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the grandson, I can't remember his name. He was there, and he in the comics is the Patriot. So he's like the Captain America.
He's got super soldier serum in his body through DNA.
Yes,
through
indeed.
his grandfather. Yeah.
There's Stature, who is Ant-Man's daughter. Mm-hmm. There is Ms. Marvel coming out soon. Is it Ms. Marvel? It is Ms. Marvel.
Yeah. Ironheart's coming as well.
Ironheart. We've got Hawkeye. We've got Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
So young Hawkeye. Young Iron Man, air quotes. It's called Iron Lad, or in fact, Young Vision, because they bond, is actually young Kang from the future. So
don't try and work it out. Just accept it.
Kang the Conqueror
Yeah.
comes back in his time, still to the future of our time, and tries to convince this young Kang, he's got a different name at this point, to join him and help him, and then sort of twist the timeline slightly, and he rejects it and ends up being thrown back in time to our time. And he's already a super intelligent person, and he has a robot suit, and it bonds with the recently dead Vision. Interesting, isn't it? Because
Recently
there are two
Vision.
Visions in the universe at the minute. It bonds with him, and then it has two personalities. It has the young Kang and Vision, and then he's a superhero as Iron Lad in Young Avengers. And then he has a massive breakdown, and it splits in half, and he goes off and becomes Kang the Conqueror, and it's amazing, and it's a great storyline.
I
really hope they would do it.
I suspect that's slightly too convoluted.
Agreed.
I think your average daily non-Marvel geek might struggle with the concept of that.
But there is some interesting stuff that if you've planted the seed for Kang, if you've got a Vision that's gone off and maybe doing something different, and you're planting all these Young Avengers, you could do something there.
There are possibilities everywhere.
It's endless.
Just quickly before you do more, JB, do you understand the end of Loki? So do you know when
The timekeeper
when he goes
statues.
goes back to the TVA?
Yeah. Because all times, I'm just assumed that all time has changed, and the reality of what was in the TVA is different because.
Well, that's what I thought as well. But Ben's about to explain something different to us.
Well, I suspect he's in a different universe. He's in a different multiverse. He's not in the 616 or whatever the MCU universe is. He's in a different one where there were no timekeepers. There was only Kang. But Kang controlled the TVA.
The TVA is outside of time.
Yes, but it still exists within that universe. It might exist outside of time, but it exists outside of time within that MCU, where Thanos snapped, where Hulk snapped back, where Iron Man snapped and killed.
Where
that TVA thought that the timekeepers were in charge. This TVA, it's not the timekeepers in charge. It's Kang.
The problem is when we start talking about it as time, because it's not actually time, it's multiverses. It's different universes.
That's right.
So every time there's a branch, in your brain you go, oh, that's a different timeline. But it's not a different timeline, it's a new universe.
So I believe that Sylvie used He Who Remains
plate thing,
which they all have. And there's a little Nintendo pad things that take them through the gateway.
Yeah, but he had like a disc.
He had a different one. She doesn't know how to use it properly. She didn't send him back to the TVA. She sent him back to the TVA in a different multiverse dimension. He's not in his own anymore. That's what I took from that. I might be wrong.
Well, I
might be wrong.
My thoughts were that you've got, and I might be wrong. It's like a tree, yeah. Got a tree trunk. Like that's the one timeline that we're all trying to keep together.
Yeah.
And then you've got all these other branches. So they're just keeping it trim. They don't want any branches. And now there's loads of branches, but there's still the central timeline. Yes.
And he's on one of those other branches.
Oh, is he?
That's
not,
where
he's
I
not,
think
he's not gone back to the main trunk.
I think
I had to put it to a tree. I was thinking about that.
Well, that's what you do. You prune trees, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Nice. Maybe that's why I was thinking about it.
I think they probably have to keep that sort of analogy because otherwise it makes the last 20 Marvel movies null and void.
Yeah.
So in order for us as audience members to be like accepting of the continuity, because otherwise you've just binned it all, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that him being in that different multiverse would explain why he is going to apparently Tom Hiddleston's Loki is going to appear in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Apparently, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is going to be an absolute linchpin. It's going to be so important. There's going to be you've got the new Spider-Man film is theoretically going to have lots of universe traveling in it. So there'll be a Spider-Man in Multiverse of Madness. WandaVision, Wanda is going to be in Multiverse of Madness. So you've got Loki in that. It's going to be the movie that ties this up in a bow and lets us go, right, here are the rules, here's the box.
Yeah, let's just know what we've got.
And apparently Kevin Feige has the head of all Marvel has basically said there are these strict rules about it, and he's laid them out for all future writers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got the Marvel continuity group that keep everything in continuity.
Yeah, I'd love to be in that.
There is a multiverse / time rules.
Okay.
That has to be adhered to.
I don't know if that film is going to wrap it up into a nice little bow, or if it's going to set that on fire and then throw napalm on it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it might.
Nathan, I'm so sorry I interrupted you. What other versions of Kang could there be? I'm so sorry. I jumped all over you.
No, that's it.
That's it. There are lots of them.
Yeah. The Conqueror.
The Conqueror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really good is that we know that he is confirmed. We knew that Jonathan Majors was confirmed for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum Mania.
Which makes sense as well, because that's time travel because of the quantum realm, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
The second he showed up in Loki and that elevator door opened and I saw it was Jonathan Majors sat there, I went, "It's Kang!" And my daughter and my son and my wife looked at me and went, "Who? What? What's going on?" And I paused and I went, "I can't tell you. You're just going to have to watch because I'll ruin something." But I thought the whole show was great. It's ending on a superb cliffhanger. So much more to come is going to be brilliant. And it's confirmed for a season 2.
Yep.
First
Is it
MCU
really?
film, first MCU TV show that's got a confirmed season 2.
Shit the bed, I didn't know that.
And I think it's the first one that deserves it.
Well, I think you could do a sequel to anything that's come before. So, WandaVision definitely, but where would you go with a sequel to that?
The sequel to that is Multiverse of Madness.
Exactly.
Right? We know she's in that. We know she's going to be doing some multiversey stuff. The sequel to Falcon and Winter Soldier is Captain America 4, apparently.
Yeah.
You mean the Budgie and the Action Force hero?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But supposedly that has been confirmed.
Yes, absolutely. So that sequel is going to be a movie. So that's fine. So so getting a confirmed sequel to season 2 of Loki, I think is fantastic. I'm all there for it. How people are going to go though from watching Loki to Loki season 2, if they are casual viewers and they don't pick up what happens in Multiverse of Madness in between, I wonder how Marvel are going to bridge all that together. Because again, we will watch everything they release, even the stuff that's middle of the road like Black Widow, but we will watch it. What about your average person who's just like, okay, well, I'll watch this with my kid because it's like a 12A and they're 12, so it might be a bit ropey, so I'll watch it with them.
I still think it's entertaining enough.
I think it's a bit like The Mandalorian, isn't it? Like you could if you there's no reason why you couldn't just watch that as a standoff, even though there's loads of linkages to the whole Star Wars universe and everything else in there and stuff like that. So
as long as his character arc isn't moved on so much that it doesn't make sense when it picks up in Loki season 2 from the movie.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
After season 1.
I suspect he'll be a bit part. I suspect he'll be not in it very much at all.
Possibly. Yeah. So I would straight up give Loki 5 missed minutes out of 5 Mobius jet skis.
nice.
Thank you.
You thought about that?
I really wanted to see Mobius on a freaking jet ski.
Yeah, me too.
The fact we didn't see it is Will's fault.
Yeah.
It is Will's fault because you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I will give it a Loki out of a Sylvie.
1 out of 1.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. I'll give it 5 Lokis out of 5 Lokis.
Nice.
Yes, 5 variant Lokis.
Very good.
Just to add a little bit of spice on the quality of this show, have you seen the tweet that the actress that plays Sylvie, I've forgotten her name.
You've got it there.
It's not in front of me anymore. I can't remember her name.
British actress. She's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the set designers and costume designers, they made her suit able to be opened at within 2 seconds, so she could breastfeed her freshly born child.
Wow!
Yeah, isn't there? I think there's an image of her. Is she got breast pumps on or something like that?
Yeah,
she's pumping breast milk. I mean, it's great that they could build that into her outfit for the show. So that's good.
But also great that
Inclusivity.
it's being normalised.
Yeah.
I just think it's great. I think everyone in this show, everyone involved in the show has really done something special to make it what it is. It's really good.
Absolutely, yeah. If you haven't seen Loki, we've just completely ruined it for you.
Yeah, well, tough.
So I guess that's the end of the episode, really. But before we go, Ben, where can people let us know what they thought of Black Widow, our nerd scene stuff, and Loki?
Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, just search for Nerds Chatting, you'll find us. Or you can send us an email, nerdschatting@outlook.com. Nathan, you'll forward it to me and I'll reply.
That feels like you've really made that succinct.
There's no point in beating around the bush here, mate.
I don't like how neat you've made it. I think that our very style is rambling and idiotic, so you should probably make a mistake somewhere along the way if you could, please.
Oh, I probably did.
Yeah.
Nerds Chatting, you'll find us.
Yeah.
Just search for that, you'll find us.
Yeah.
That reminds me of like The Last of the Mohicans when they're in the cave when the waterfall's falling and Nathaniel Hawkeye's got to run out and she's like, oh no, how will I find you? And he's like, I will find you. Just stay alive. I will find you. So the listeners are Hawkeye. They will find us as long as we stay alive.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
Good.
random.
What are we going to talk about next time?
Oh, well, we've got a couple of weeks off, right? I mean, there's The Suicide Squad, although I don't know how I'm going to see it because I don't really know if I want to go to the cinema just yet.
Okay.
But there's also Marvel What If coming up on the 11th of August as well. So we've got some options. Cool. Got some options.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
We could do a news episode. We've got tons of news, loads of trailers we could talk about.
Yeah.
could do that as well.
June trailer.
June.
Seen that?
Oh my
Anyone seen the
God.
Ghostbusters trailer?
Ghostbusters trailer made me erect.
I saw your tent. It was a very good erection.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On that note, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.